5.
Oh, it's me? On me?
All right, we are live, and the New York Mets just took care of business against the Colorado Rockies. We did not tap the Rockies.
We did not tap the Rockies. We polar opposite of tapping the Rockies. I knew. So the first game of the series against Jake, I think the Mets were the biggest favorite, like in the history of fucking baseball. So I said, fuck it, let's go all out with a parlay. A Pete home run, Jake on the over, a hit from Lindor, a hit from McNeil, and the Mets minus 1.5. And we oddly came like closer than I ever thought we were. Yep. The fact that Jake strikeouts was the first thing that ended it was stunning. To end the series, same sort of thing. Max on the bump. I'm thinking we've already taken 3. We have an off day tomorrow. I think we're going to go out there loose as a goose and just bash them. And so I tried to tap the Rockies again, and we almost got no hit. It was, you say that we took care of business, and we did, and that's what's important. But losing the 4th game of a series in that fashion, it feels like you didn't take care of business. It feels like you're coming out of a series limping into the Dodgers when technically you're not, but as of your most recent game, you are. It's fucked, man. Losing that 4th game sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Sometimes you tap the Rockies. Sometimes the Rockies tap you. However, what do we do, Kev? This is the one thing about it that makes it feel right. We love the Rockies. Why do we love the Rockies? Because the Coors Light can has those beautiful Rockies, and when they're blue, it turned our offense blue. We basically had blue balls that entire series. Nonetheless, we love our Colorado. Or excuse me, I don't know if I say Colorado. We love the Rockies. We love the Rockies, and it's because Coors Light is the official beer of everything unofficial, celebrating those moments that truly make summer chill. The calendar is quickly approaching September, but it's all right because the Blue Mountains are going to get us through this all the way through October into November when we're at the parade, kick and punch. So whether you're having your end of the summer barbecues, we're doing some Labor Day barbecues, maybe some weddings still going on. Coors Light is always the beer that's for you. I was upstate in Saratoga, met our boy Big Tone. We were cheersing some nice Coors Lights. It was a beautiful feeling, and it just cools you down, and it's going to cool us down all the way through this Mets season because I know people are going to freak out when the offense goes to sleep for the entire weekend, which it did.
You know what? I don't think they did as much. I think we're making improvement as a fan base. I don't think we're jumping off the bridge as much as if this happened 2 months ago, people would be declaring the season over. And I think that people were disgruntled and mad yesterday, but I didn't see the same old, maybe I just wasn't on social media as much. I think we finally won over. So it took, 80 fucking wins in the first 5 months of the season to convince them. But I think we did it because that game against the Rockies is as bad of a – if we had lost the comeback game and that game, the 1-0 game, are 2 of the worst losses potentially of the season. And I think fans are upset, but just kind of like they realize that they can't cancel the season anymore. I think we actually finally –
I'm going to tell you why the vibe is like that. Because the Braves finally lost the series this weekend.
Honestly, isn't that – dude, just think. If the Braves weren't as good as they are, if the Mets were in any other division, whatever you want to, however whether the Braves are bad or the Mets are somewhere else, this season would have been a fucking party. We would have had so much fun this year, night in and night out, just celebrating wins, pushing off losses, no big deal. We are fine. And in a way, it's good. The Braves are keeping you, sharp and keeping you on your game. Yep. But, man, when you see how much more relaxing it is when the Braves just go ahead and lose a couple games, you're like, oh, all right, that loss means nothing. It means nothing. We're 1 day closer to the end of the season. We're 1 day closer to our magic number, and it doesn't matter. Boom, whatever.
I want to say it's because, as a fan base, we're growing and because this Mets team is so good. But let's be honest, the reason why it is because summer chill starts with Coors Light. So make the most of your summer with a chance to win exclusive chill merch, fun local experiences, even a trip to New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles. Enter to win at CoorsLight.com/believe. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends September 19th, 2022. Game ends September 6th, 2022. All 50 states and Washington, D.C. 21 and older only. Void prohibited. For rules, visit CoorsLightSummer.com. And at the parade, what we're going to do? Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And these goddamn Rockies are going right to Atlanta now. So they're playing the Braves after they played us. I want to see them keep that same energy, Rockies. Or keep that same energy.
Thing. When people get mad and they're like, you have to sweep, it's like bad teams are terrible, right? But they're not going to lose every game.
Mhm.
They're going to win some games. And you would hope that they come at the expense of other bad teams and that the good teams like the Mets just beat the shit out of them. But, it's just not how baseball works. It's a stupid sport. It's like any other time, a far superior basketball team plays a garbage basketball team. They're going to win 100 times out of 100. In a sport like baseball, or even like one game in football, like these things happen where it's just like baseball's dumb. You hit the ball right at some guys. You have 1,000 balls to the warning track. It felt like, I don't know. If you want to get all bent out of shape and talk for an hour straight about losing 1-0 to the Rockies, go ahead. I'm more pumped about Max, being as sharp as fucking can be, matching season high in Ks and gearing up for the postseason. I also think, I don't know, do you guys think at this point Buck is managing a little bit for the postseason? Like these guys not being able to pitch ever back-to-back games. Lugo and Ottavino, nobody can be touched. We're pitching absolute scrubs out of the pen. We're still giving Michael Givens chances. Like, to me, that's a guy who's thinking one way or another, we're making it to October. Let's start gearing up for that.
Buck has kind of been managing that way all season, though. Like, he's rarely ever used guys on back-to-back days. I think we're like one of the fewest of those appearances in the league, I'm pretty sure.
Which is, a good thing in the long run, but also, I don't see why we can't just, throw a Lugo out there, throw an Ottavino. I can't believe, there was a time where I thought Lugo and Ottavino were absolutely done, and now they've settled in and like they become, I honestly think, why can't we just have Ottavino, Lugo, McGill when he comes back, Trevor Williams pitching some relief innings,
Peterson,
what?
Peterson
and Peterson as our lefty, and then Diaz. Why is that? Why do we even have to mess around with May and these other bums? Like when push comes to shove for the postseason, I think we're gonna roll with those guys. No, I hope we're gonna roll with those guys.
In a playoff series, you're likely only gonna see like maybe 4 relievers pitch in actual like big spots.
Right. So obviously there's a long way to go, and winning the division is such a prize nowadays with the bye. So there's you don't want to. You're certainly not punting, but when postseason comes around, and also I would imagine guys like Bassett. Whoever drops off in the rotation is available as well. I just think pitching, we have a lot of good pitching and then just a couple bums who have to be used. But in the postseason, they don't. So I think it's going to be like a strength come October because, everybody kind of starts filling those roles with better arms.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I guarantee Braves fans aren't being like, Kenley Jansen, that's our closer for the playoffs. Can't we have that guy on the mound?
I argued with them the other day. I said, the Braves have a better bullpen. They do. But the best arm out of both teams is Diaz. So coming into it, we have the best reliever if we're going head-to-head with those guys. And that is worth a million points to me. That is worth like the majority of deciding who has a better bullpen to me is who has the best arm. Because when Jake and Max and them do go 8 innings or 7 innings and you just have to get to Diaz, to me, that will be way more valuable than when you put Kenley Jansen out there and you might walk in a fucking run to lose.
I also think we're extremely fortunate that we have a dog shit schedule in September because all he's going to do is throw out those relievers and be like, one of you needs to figure it out. Like, prove to me that you're worthy of like coming in the postseason. You'd have to think one of those guys are going to hit if he just keeps giving them opportunity.
I don't know, bro. I don't know if they're going to hit. I think of it more as like, we'll just save arms that are good because those guys are so bad. And what could they change? Like, it's not like their velocity is down. It's not like this is them like at their best and they just get fucking rocked.
I'm willing to overlook Michael Givens this weekend just because the Rockies are not a high leverage enough team for him. That's what I'm going to say. The situation was high leverage, but the Colorado Rockies weren't. I think he had that. Was it the Braves where he had a big inning?
Clem, can you pull up the numbers? Can you pull up they're laughable. Do you know? I think you texted me the tweet if you want to find it there. It's Michael Givens in low leverage situations. It's like a 980 OPS or something. And then in high leverage, it's like 200. It's like it's crazy. He just needs the situation to be absolutely dire. So he walks the bases loaded and he gives up hits and all that shit. I mean, his pickoff move is great. Maybe we just let these guys get on base and just pick them off. And that's how we get our 3 outs.
On Friday, the entire stadium's on their feet screaming, trying to just will him into it, like fully behind him. And then he lets up that double. They're like, this guy fucking sucks.
Bro, I've never heard the air let out of a building more than that, because like he did get the strikeout and I was like, holy shit, high leverage Givens is going to do it again. This guy sucks. And like, he's going to get him out. And the fans were up 2-strike cheering. And that ball was so dead in the gap that there was no chance anyone was catching it. And everyone just went, oh, and it went dead, man. That guy sucks. Givens sucks.
All right, I found the stats. These are from the 19th, so 10 days ago is and I'm sure the numbers probably look a little worse.
I'm sure they changed very much since then.
Our boy Phil, I'll put him up here for the people listening on the pod here. So OPS against Givens, his high leverage, or low leverage, 985 OPS. Medium leverage, 669 OPS. High leverage, 469 OPS. So our boy Meek said it best. Like in low leverage, they're basically like Pete Alonso, and in high leverage, they're James McCann. So
it's
that's
crazy.
The kind of numbers we're dealing with here.
It's. I mean, he had like a 2 ERA, and I mean, he did. I don't know. I guess when you take a middle reliever from the shitty Cubs, that's what you got. You got a middle reliever from the shitty Cubs. I would love to get Billy Epler in a room off the record and just ask him why. Like, and have a real answer. If he just said to me, like, we thought Trevor May was going to be lights out and we were fucking wrong. We thought Michael Givens was like the steal of the deadline. Like, just what is the answer? Because it's one of those things, like, you know, fans love to like armchair quarterback and Monday morning quarterback and all that. And 9 times out of 10, they're morons and they're wrong. And Epler himself has proven a lot of those guys stupid with a lot of the moves he has made. But there's just no explanation for a team this good with a hole that big to not go get multiple guys and try it. Like, bro, we would have like 100 wins right now if we had a bullpen. We'd be like one of the greatest teams of all time. We'd be going toe-to-toe with the Dodgers. We just have this one problem. Think about it. Starting pitching has been immaculate. The offense has been a little bit up and down, but for the most part, always produced. It's just those middle relievers, and he just didn't do anything. And it's like telling me 2 + 2 = 5. It's just like, what the fuck happened, man? Crazy. Or, you know, he said to me, it's going to be McGill and it's going to be Trevor Williams. And we're, you know, when push comes to shove, those will be our guys. Fine. But I got to know what the fuck happened.
Do you think maybe it is like a narco situation? We just need to find his entrance song. Like, that could be it. That might be the entire
Timmy
thing.
Trumpets needs to come up with a little fucking something for everybody. Goodness gracious.
And the thing is, we're like, obviously, I don't want to be negative about it. The series you took 3 or 4 of. We said 3 or 4 or bust, and a sweep would be really nice. It would have been really nice to put an extra game between us and the Braves. But at the same point, it's like, they fucking came back and won, and the offense did exactly what it needed to do, which is grind and grind and grind. Pete gets a fucking another game-winning RBI.
25 game-winning RBIs for that guy. 25 game-winning RBIs is unbelievable.
It's crazy.
But like, eventually, Mark Canha's not going to bail your ass out again. Eventually, you know, some of the magic has to run out, and you can't keep handing leads to these guys in late innings. Like, thank God we did it against the Rockies, and they handed it right back, and it was awesome. But, like, holy fucking Christ.
I mean, yeah, playing 4 nail-biters versus the Rockies isn't really fun. I mean, it's going to annoy me when I see the Braves play them this week, and it'll be like 7-1 in the 4th inning. Like,
blowouts galore. And that, I mean, that's where the Braves have been the better team in that regard. Like, they handle their business, including that 3rd game or that 4th game of every series. But you also got to be thinking, like, I don't know, man. I've been hearing Tik Tok for a long fucking time. Tik Tok, like, tweets only work when you actually overtake the team in a reasonable amount of time. I've been hearing Tik Tok since fucking, like, June 1st. Eventually, you start to look up and go, like, fuck, we just can't get over the hump with these guys. And, you know, I know the Braves schedule isn't hard either, but after the Dodgers, it is comical. It's actually so bad that I'm getting nervous. because I'm like, we theoretically should like run away with it. We should be like, we're not going to lose a game in September. And that sets the stage for, you know, what I'm not even going to use the word, but it's just like these teams should be beaten. And the Mets, you know, I don't know. In previous years, don't always just, they kind of play up and down to their competition at certain times.
It kind of goes back to, I remember this, I love debating this instead of what we used to debate, which was, is it better to have your closer just get a home run hit off him, like, you know, Diaz was doing in 2019, or is it the Familia 1,000 paper cuts, single, broken bat, error? And it's like, is it worse to be watching the scoreboard, watching the Braves, and it's 7-2 every night? You're like, well, they won that game. Or is it the Braves who are watching us, and it's 2-0, and then it just goes final, and they go, these fucking guys just don't go down. And then they see how we won we win on a broken bat single, and they're just like, God damn it, these fuckers just do not go. That stat, which finally got broken yesterday, where the Braves had won, what was it, 12 in a row?
12.
And I had a Braves fan talking shit to me, being like, oh my God, can you believe this? I go, oh my God, can you believe you guys haven't gotten in first place yet?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
guys?
At what point are they? I think if let's say we win the World Series this year, imagine, right? Next year, I would be cocky as fuck. Like we said, I probably won't even watch. I wouldn't care about the nitty gritty. So the majority of Braves fans are just sitting back being like, we're world champions. We're going to catch your ass. We're all good. Don't care. Whatever. But the Braves fans who are watching every single day and the neurotic version of us down in Atlanta, who maybe aren't resting on the fact that they won last year, they've got to be thinking that. They've got to be thinking like, what the fuck do we got to do? We're playing like 700 ball, 750 ball for like months straight, and we haven't overtaken these guys.
I think the exact stats like 720 since June 1st, which is absurd.
You know, like everything you want to say about the Braves and why they're so good and why they're going to win the division and why they're going to win the World Series, blah, blah, blah. Well, the Mets have just been better than them. You know, it's been different styles, and I can, of course, can understand we have some comeback wins and we have some, like, close wins and shit. But, like, we have a better record than them. So everything good you want to say about them, you just have to say a little bit more about the New York Mets.
Yeah, and I don't like, even again, I'm trying, I don't scoreboard watch really, and I'm kind of living in Cohen lineup, but you have to, like, just at some point say, it just would have been such a nice season. I thank the Braves for keeping this close, because we would be insufferable.
Insufferable, Clem.
I was on the dog walk, and Carl's like, Clem, I see you're getting really full of yourself. And I'm like, I was told for months that my very good team is not very good and they're going to blow it. I have to start spouting back at some point.
Eventually.
Because it's so, and like all that plus years of being the team that everyone laughed at, and, you know, the Bobby Bonilla day and all the shit I've had to eat from everybody. Now everyone has to eat a little bit of my shit.
Yeah, the fact that we're the butt of every joke and the punching bag every year. Finally, we're good, and we fucking speak up about it, and people are like, whoa. It's like, what the fuck do you expect? Suck my dick. This team's awesome. And yeah, if we were playing in the NL Central, this podcast would suck, because every single day we'd be like, what do you want to talk about? How many fucking runs were up? How many games were up? I mean, we would be putting our feet up 2 months ago.
We'd be on straight up Tundra watch. Did the Reds fan shit in the Tundra yet? Nope. Yeah. Hasn't done it yet. Let's keep it fucking moving.
And I don't know. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? You think it's good that we have been in a dogfight all year? I think we basically have been playing playoff games ever since. In the
long run, it'll definitely help us out. I will say that. And as annoying as it is, it will help us out in the end.
Yeah, right.
I think it helps out. I don't know if we're talking about the players or the fans, because I think it helps both of us. I think it helps the Mets being in a dogfight, and it helps us fans, because October comes, lights are going to be on.
Oh,
we're going to be all screaming together. It's going to be bad news.
No. Hard disagree. This does not help the fans. This is killing me. It is. I know what you mean, that like, no, I disagree entirely, because I think I'm freaking out about a Rockies game on a Thursday night. You think I'm going to be able to be like, oh, I can handle October because I've been playing close games all year. I'm going to go into cardiac arrest in October. I'm going to die.
If you can make it there, I'm telling you, you're going to be battle tested, because we are not built for fucking October. And maybe especially October, where we're kind of the favorite or second favorite. I remember 06, September was such a joke. And then once that Dodgers series started, I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot. This is what it's like.
It was like a punch in the mouth. Yeah. I guess if I'm in the gambling cave and I'm sitting next to I don't know, I guess I'm trying to think of who wouldn't be battle tested. Like, I don't know, if there's a Dodgers fan and they're just like chilling and they start to freak out, and I'm sitting there like, oh, dude, the game hasn't even begun. Our seventh inning comeback is coming like any minute. Maybe then I will feel like I've like earned some experience points. But right now,
it's the Phillies. The Phillies fans, they haven't been in the playoffs in how long? They probably forgot what it's like being in the playoffs, just like we have. Like 2015 and 2016, I'm not ready for Gillespie again. I'm not ready for that moment where you're dealing with the fucking bullpen and you're dealing with – it's like you almost fear the no-name guys more than the big-name guys at that point because you're the Mets.
Yes,
and
you do.
You don't want the Mike Socha moment to happen to you. But it's true. Like,
I'm going to live in the kitchen. Forget about hiding in the kitchen. I'm going to put a fucking arrow bed in the kitchen.
Good thing the kitchen's right next door to the gambling cave, too, at the Barstool HQ, so you can even go into that kitchen. I think we're going to have to build another set, though, for our entire crew. All of us, Frank the Tank, Rico Bosco, Stu Feiner, Glenny Bowles, like the fucking misfit group that we're all a part of, it's made for fucking
Clemmer.
TV. And Frank the fucking Tank. And, Clemmer and
Weirdos is the island of misfits.
I got Carl saying he's going to bring Arrieta to New York. White Sox Dave says he wants to pop in. I said we're bringing Castellani in, obviously, to be on our side.
Jesus
so
Christ.
It's a fucking
place is going to be jam packed. We should charge admission, make some money on this shit. Let me ask you this question. I saw our friend over at Bussin' with the Boys. I jumped on the Nebraska bandwagon for college football this year. They promptly lose immediately to Northwestern, and he said, I feel awful today. Like the day after a loss is the worst feeling ever. And I know that in football, losses mean a lot more. But I also think that in the heat of the moment, we get as jacked up for Mets games as he and any football player does for their games. So while there are less of them and they mean more, if Nebraska was to play today and the next day and the next day and the next day, Will Compton would be as up and as electric of a fan as he is every day, every week. So, like, we do that same thing. We should be more calm. We should say, hey, this means 1/10 of a football loss. Why don't we relax? But honestly, we do this day in and day out, and every single game has the potential to ruin my day or week. Now, that we get a chance to erase it the next day, and that's the big thing, like the big difference about baseball and football. But I honestly feel like I take a Mets loss just as hard as a football fan does, and we've just got to do it 60 fucking, hopefully, at best, 60 times a year, probably closer to, 70 or 80. It's a sickness, man. It's an absolute sickness that I wouldn't wish upon anybody.
The flip side is I can't remember the last time you've actually been upset at like a Jets loss as bad as a Mets loss. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. Like even though you think about it logically, like one football loss is equal to like 10 baseball losses. It will never feel that way for me. A Mets loss will always crush me more than even a 16, 17 game season loss. It is. I don't know why we're like that. I don't know why this season feels that way more than ever. But the way he felt after a Nebraska football loss is how I feel after losing 1-0 to the Rockies. It's insane.
It's not rational, but I mean, I think I'm pretty close Giants Mets, and I know college is a whole different beast, but it's fucked up. It's wrong, but it's 100% the truth. I was telling my brother-in-law back in July. He's like, "Man, you're right." I was like, "Yeah, the Mets just fucking lost." He goes, "Dude, it's mid-July. It's beginning of July right now." And we're also like fighting the fan base. We have the Frank the Tank. So at that point, like we weren't 100% sure that this team was this fucking good. And it is. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's rational, but it is what it is.
True, yeah.
And without a World Series and being the butt of the jokes all those years, it's like we just need this one. We need it so goddamn bad.
If the Dodgers didn't win that Mickey Mouse trophy, they are the Buffalo Bills of baseball. Like they're the best team that always gets to where they're trying to go, and then they fucking blow it. So like, as much as they're like this world beater, we're playing them, and I'm like, we've upgraded. Our team is better than the last time we played them, and we split with them then. Like, yes, they're on a heater, but we're also the team that wins series and doesn't go on streaks. So we're built for the playoffs, literally. And that's why the Braves fans are freaking out, because we're going into September, and they're like, how do we make up ground if we're winning 2 out of 3? You don't. That's how.
Yeah, like you can't. Like you start with a little bit of a cushion, and you never go on a 3-game losing streak. It might get close. It might get deadly close. It might get down to half a game. But like we just seem to always kind of bounce back. I hear what you're saying about the Dodgers, but holy shit, man. I mean, holy shit. They are fucking plus 300 in the run differential. That hasn't happened. The only modern day team to do that is the 98 Yankees. Everybody else is like 1897 and the Red Stockings and shit. The 98 Yankees, I think, were like plus 309 or 314 or something like that. To be plus 300 in the run differential is just nuts. But I also, there are times where, people are putting in position players and you're punting games and all sorts of shit that really can, make the run differential a little bit fugazi. But goddamn, I mean, if they don't steamroll through this one, they are the Buffalo Bills. They're the biggest choke artists ever.
And if you're going to want to see this team in person, because it's the only time you're going to see them all year, unless there's a playoff matchup, which, again, God willing, they get taken out before we even have to see them. You got to go to Game Time. Game Time is a ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they have they guarantee the lowest price. They crack the code on how to score deals on last-minute tickets. I'm sure everything is through the roof of which tickets are even available anymore. You got to go to Game Time. We've gone to Game Time to go get tickets. We have the Stu Finer seats without the Stu Finer prices. That's what I always say there. It's going to be an electric atmosphere in Citi Field. So download the Game Time app, go to the account tab to create a login, and redeem code BELIEVE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. And it is a so the schedule here for the 3 games. We got Taijuan Walker against Andrew Heaney, Jacob deGrom versus Tyler Anderson, and Chris Bassett versus Dustin May. Would have loved to have big old Max in there, doing his thing. However, I'll take those 3. Absolutely. And I'll tell you, we talk about the Astros, the factory, the lab, cheating, whatever the fuck. Andrew Heaney has a 1.94 ERA. And I said, this can't be the same Andrew Heaney that was with the New York Yankees that the Yankees fans were fucking destroying. And it is. It's the same fucking guy in 9 games. It's like, that is a sample right there.
1.9? 1.94
ERA, Kevin. He has a 1.9. I'm going to turn it to Frank Dick. He has a 1.9.
I think it's gone up. I think it was a 1.3 last week.
Oh, my God. I mean,
at some point, it's just fucking, it's black magic, It's crazy. I hope that people say things like that about us, though. Maybe like our offense. I don't know. Like Mark Hanna has a fucking OPS of like 2,000 the past month. What? But god damn.
Even like season wise, like none of our guys are actually like completely overperforming.
That's what's nuts. That's why when people said, this is bound to stop. The regression's coming. Who's overperforming? Nobody. If we were overperforming, if we had a couple guys playing a little bit over their heads and middle relief, we would win 120 games. And I'm not joking. I think we would win 120 games if we just had if let's say if Pete was playing like Aaron Judge, or if we just had a couple guys who could pitch the 6th and 7th, I think we would win 120 games.
And at this point, I mean, the fucking Dodgers might do that. I went on the standings this morning just to see. I'm like, let me see what the Dodgers are even doing right now. They are 50 games over 500 a week before Labor Day. How is that? Like,
bro, I went back and looked at it. They had 27 losses. It was like back around late June, and then since then they went 42-10. And it's just like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like that shit is just. The numbers are baffling when you look like you just go to their season schedule and you just see their win column go up and their loss column, it just stays the same. It's bonkers.
At the end of the season, if someone does those like the graphs that move and it's like wins, and the Dodgers will be like pretty good all the and then it's just go like numbers go, wins go.
I thought when we split with them. And I think at one point the Padres were in the lead, right?
They were tied at first with them like mid-June.
Yeah, and I remember thinking like, all right, the Dodgers are, good. The Dodgers are beatable this year. And then like right then is when they just said, and that the Padres go all in, they make their big move, and it's just like, doesn't matter.
I'm here looking at like the schedule again for these 3 games, and I'm like, all right, we miss Urias, and we miss Gonsolin. And then I'm looking up Heaney, 1.9 for ERA. Tyler Anderson, 13-2, 2.69 ERA. Dustin May, 1.64 ERA. And it's like, you don't miss a little bit of time. You don't miss anybody. And that's without fucking Bueller, who's out for the year. And what's his name? Kershaw's hurt too. It's like this team just does not fucking quit.
And that's the team that also has the #1 farm in baseball. Like, what?
And that's why Uncle Stevie wants to make us the new Dodgers. So I'm hoping in 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, it's just us where it's like the guys up here are awesome, the guys in the farm are awesome, and then we kind of we could trade away a Yordan Alvarez or an O'Neal Cruz and be like, all right, whatever, man. We're going to win 60 games above 500 on Labor Day. Like, what can you even say about this team? They are the gold standard of baseball, yet they somehow have 1 Mickey Mouse title to their team. So everyone remember that in October when it's fucking like, it's like, God damn it, how the hell are we going to do this? It's like, that's fucking baseball, Susan. It is a goddamn.
Wait, right now, let's say the playoffs started right now. The Dodgers, the Mets, and the Brewers.
Cardinals are
Cardinals. And then it would be what the Padres play. Like what would the wild card games?
Okay, so as of right now, it would be Phillies, Braves in 1 wild card set, and Cardinals, Padres. Although the Padres and Brewers are like neck and neck with each other, like even in the loss column. So I don't know who's gonna get that 6th seed.
I think Kevin's getting a little bit of blood thinking about Phillies Braves right now.
Phillies Braves with Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola and the way they play them and the way they bat. Like,
you see that kid on the Iron Pigs, Bryce Harper? He looks fucking awesome. He's a fucking stud. He's gonna crush with
dude. That's why. So if we lose the division, we would play the Phillies in the wild card.
Phillies in the wild card.
See, that's why I'm like, we have to win the division, but there's way more on the line for the Braves when it comes to that. Because I think, granted, we could have a 1988 situation where we beat the shit out of them in the regular season, and come October, you throw all that out. The Phillies are a good team. I've been very respectful of the Phillies all year, while the fact that we absolutely shit pumped them and made them our bitches and they have to tip their caps and call us their daddies. I still am like, I don't fuck around with them. They are a good team that we somehow beat the utter piss out of. So if we have to go into that series, I think we're way more confident and comfortable, despite the fact that I have a healthy respect for them. If the Braves have to go into that series, that's a way, way different scenario, man.
So here's the flip side. If we win the division and we would match up of the winner of the 3 and 6. So as of right now, it'd be either the Cardinals or the Padres and Brewers. We would not see either the Dodgers or Braves or Phillies unless it's the NLCS if we win the division. That's why winning the division is very important.
Yeah, but also seeing the Padres scares me more.
Because they took the series from us earlier.
I'm not confident they made the playoffs.
Series from us. They beat the shit out of us.
I'll be dead serious. I'm not sure they even make the playoffs at this point because they're even with the Brewers in the loss column. They still play the Dodgers 9 more times.
Bro, if the Padres went all in for Juan Soto and don't make the playoffs, that would make me so sick to my stomach if the Juan Soto move ends up being like for nothing. I mean, obviously not for nothing. But like that's a short-term move, and in the short term they don't make it. Man, that would be great. I don't want to see Juan Soto. I don't want to see the Padres. If the Brewers can make it, we have 3 with them coming up, right? That's the only time like we'll get it.
And in September we go to Milwaukee. Yeah.
So I feel like that'll be a good litmus test for how we handle them. I feel like we would beat them. I don't know. I'm not afraid of them. But at this point, all these teams can beat you. But man, I am getting giddy just thinking about like everything you just described, one way or the other. Not too bad. No matter what happens, I think I'm okay. Yeah,
it could break right for us, and then the old Mets fan brain will tell us everything's going to get fucked up. But as of now, it looks pretty tasty. And every single story that comes out from Fernando Tatis's camp, I think gets Juan Soto a little closer to being like, fuck this place. Yeah. I am not resigning in San Diego, with this being my 1A to my 1. And Juan, come to New York. San Diego, you guys want to restock that system? We got some guys. We got a couple guys.
Give a quick shout out to Mets West, Seattle Mariners, who pay their players appropriately. I just want to commend all of the franchises out there who understand their players' worth and don't try to fuck them over and give them the money that they deserve. J-Rod, you deserve every penny. Just Just that's completely, unrelated to anything else going on in the game today. I just want to commend the Seattle Mariners.
They pay their players like a franchise quarterback, literally, because I still don't understand the contract. It's like $250 to $450 million.
But that's smart. I always think, when people – I think baseball is ripe for that because I think it's bullshit how long you got to wait to get paid in baseball. It's fucking trash. And the players' union is like the strongest union in the world – except when it comes to that. I think that's why that whole system works out, because it's like you will get your guaranteed $400 million deal, but you got to play like 6 years before you ever see that money. I think if you just come up with incentive-laden contracts, it works out for everybody, because it's like we'll eat up those arbitration years. You get paid now, and we'll give you that skyrocket money as long as you become a skyrocket player. I don't see why everybody doesn't do that.
That contract could be the new normal because he has he has $210 million guaranteed. If he just completely sucks in the next 8 years, he's $210 guaranteed. If he's an all-star he's supposed to be, he's making your $500 million. He's a legend in Seattle for the rest of his life.
Why isn't that that should be all of sports? You get like a good amount guaranteed, and then everything else is performance-based, whether you get paid like Mike Trout or you get paid like, I don't know, a fucking guy on the Braves.
Just throwing that out there. Just hypothetically,
a guy on the Braves.
I'm looking at the Braves bullpen right now, and I mean, there's some dudes that have some, like, the thing is, if you just look at numbers and ERA and stuff, you're like, all right, they got some decent guys here. But I feel like if you just looked at the Mets bullpen without any real, context to everything, you're like, oh, everything looks fine when you're not sweating your ass off in an eighth inning.
Numbers with relievers don't make any sense. Here's what I know about the Braves bullpen. I've dealt with, we dealt with the Royals bullpen in the World Series, which was one of the scariest units. The scariest sports units of all time is like 85's Bears defense and the Patriots O-line from this year. And there's certain groups of guys. The Royals bullpen that year was, and that 2 years was fucking terrifying. And I don't feel like that against like the Braves. Like when it comes time, when the starter comes out, I'm happy. Like when we get Max Fried up to 100 pitches in the fourth inning and we're getting to their pen, I'm not sitting there like, oh shit, this guy goes 6, he goes 7, he goes 8, and he goes 9. The game is over. I think that they can be got just like any other bullpen, especially in the ninth with Kenley Jansen. So I think that's a huge difference. Whereas with the Mets, you get to the ninth, it's pretty much over.
And then with the Dodgers too, it's like Kimbrel it's kind of like a Jansen. He's like,
I know that the first guys, the middle relief sucks, but the back end is so far and away an advantage to the Mets when it comes to guys like Kimbrel and Jansen. And I think that's what really matters. Because in the playoffs, sorry, Edwin, you got to go 2. And you got to go back-to-back days. Because, we're just emptying the clip here. I feel like that's an advantage that, in the regular season, maybe not so much. In the postseason, edge to the Mets.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's like you only really need, maybe max 3 guys that at the bullpen in the playoffs you can trust.
Right.
Because you're not tossing, Trevor May out there in a 2-run game in any inning.
Not happening. Yeah. And you just got to hope that occasionally you have I know it's the best of the best and every game is probably going to be close, but if you just have one laugher in a series that lets everybody relax for the night, that sets up everything.
Yep. And I will say, with our pitchers, I don't like just the guts and the grit of all this kind of shit. I don't know if anyone matches Max and even Bassett in terms of I need to get to the 8th. The boys are tired from yesterday's game. Things are a little right. I'd love to throw Jake in there. I don't even think I throw Jake in there right now. I hope that we're kind of ramping him up because we all remember playoff Jake in 2015 before he became this supernova, and a lot of shit has gone with his health since then. But having those 2 guys who will just get that last out. Yesterday, Max, I went to dinner and I got in and the bases were loaded and I was like, oh, who did they put in for Max? I was like, he's still in and he got out of it. He is a bulldog.
It was infield singles and broken bat shit. So he's just I'm fine. I'm just gonna blow through this. No big deal. Here's a thought. Who do you like more? Supernova Jacob deGrom, or that 2015 NLDS Game 5, was it, where he didn't have anything in the tank and somehow still just danced his way through 6 innings? Every single inning he got through, I was screaming at Terry, take him out! And he just kept going out there and pitching gutsy. And now I think it's like he either like is pitching a perfect game or he runs into a little bit of trouble and you got to pull him. I kind of miss the old Jake where he was like crafty and it wasn't just like 101 mile an hour fastball. Part of me almost wishes, that there's some of that old Jake left in him.
For the most part now, he only just uses like 2 pitches. He's really just a fastball slider guy.
No complaints, but there's just something to be said in the playoffs when you're not going to just be mowing dudes down because everybody's playing top notch. The guys who can gut it out. That's why like a guy like Bassett might be more valuable than you realize because he's just like he's been pitching. Chris Bassett has been pitching for his spot and his life the entire season and pretty much his whole career every time he goes out there. And I think that like there's something to be said about that in the playoffs where it's not going to always be smooth sailing. And then there's also the chance that Max and Jake just fucking gas everybody. So, but you know what I mean? That gutsiness that might, you lose a little bit of that when you have a 7-year run of being, stupendous.
The thought of Max and Jake just deciding to be Schilling and Randy Johnson would be a pretty cool fucking way to get the playoffs going. I'm with you on that.
You know what? Like, it's just on the table. There's a chance. There is a chance that they just win the first 2 and the last 2 of every series, and that happens, and we do it. And, like, I don't know if anybody else can really say that,
Yeah. And so, like, Jake, you do make a good point. Like, would you rather have the 5 balls, Jake, that we currently have, right? And it's like, but he could just come up with an injury at any given moment, and you never really know what's going to happen. Or do you want the 3.5 balls, Jake, that was in that game 5? I'll even take the 4.0 balls, Jake, that did what, because that game 5 was fucking treacherous. It was the worst flight you're ever on. The turbulence, you know, the one where you go down, you go boom, and like your stomach goes into your throat. We had a few of those in that fucking game.
That series. The fact that we beat Greinke and Kershaw twice is like, to me, that was like, we can get through anything, man. And the fact that we didn't is like, I remember thinking that against the Royals. I was like, we just beat, we're going to beat the shit out of the Royals. We just beat the fucking Kershaw and Greinke. And
we beat Arietta, our coworker, like the next series.
Like the fact that we could sweep the Cubs and battle through the Dodgers, but the Royals were too much to handle.
Johnny fucking Cueto.
I hate it, but that's what we are today, now. So as that team, I kind of love it.
And I truly do I love it at this point. We have the lucky shirts on sale. By the way, the bars, the We Gotta Believe store, you go on YouTube now. You can get your shirts right on the store. There's a store tab. Our boy Pabs hooked it up.
If you're watching on YouTube right now, you can buy our shirts directly from here. So we've got the new Edwin Diaz shirts with the trumpets. We've got the lucky shirts for all the fucking assholes out there calling us lucky. And we've had merch that we've been putting on sale all year. There's not a team presence on the internet that can touch ours when it comes to merch and this podcast. We have covered every inch of this team, whether it's with promo or interviews or with merch, whatever. So click on the link in the YouTube and get the new shirts. They'll ship out in time. Get ready for the playoffs. You can have like a whole rotation for the playoffs of Buck shirts and Lindor shirts and Pete shirts. Like we got everybody covered.
We have to figure out if we're going to do meaningful games in October because I think the September one is it was a good joke last year. We said we were going to do it, but I think it almost has to be meaningful games in October or something.
You know what we should do? Meaningful games in November.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's going to be at this point.
Dude, it is November 7th. I think is Game 7 of the World Series. That is late. The World Series doesn't start until October 28th. That's crazy.
I've been having I told my wife now, I'm like, honey, listen, you have to figure out how the kids are getting to school on November 2nd. I don't even know what day of the week November 2nd is. I've been telling everyone on the podcast, Cake Punch and Coors Light on November 2nd.
November 2nd is going to be like Game 3.
if anyone can win in 3 games, it's fucking Jake and Max. I'll put it on them. And I looked up Bassett's stats here just because I wasn't sure. In the playoffs, he's had only 2 appearances in the playoffs in his career, both in 2020, that weird-ass year. He had 4 innings, 3 earned against the Astros, and in the wild card, 7 innings, 1 earned against the White Sox. So, that's
like Game 7 in the wild card, So that's like big money game.
Exactly. So I'm feeling pretty good about him. And then I guess Dodgers series at this point, it's like 2 out of 3 would be awesome.
Oh my God, 2 out of 3, I would suck a dick now.
It would be awesome. The Timmy Trumpet. Does he play Edwin Diaz in? That's going to kind of be this whatever happens this year. Buck actually said he liked it too. Did you see that?
That whole clip from Buck was amazing. We got to talk to Adam Ottavino. I want to hear what's so funny about him. Buck was like, Otto is one of the funniest guys in here. He just doesn't let you know. We got to find out what's so funny about him. But that clip, when he was like, I want to see it. I think it's cool. I like that song. He is such a delight, man. I want him to be like, I know he did some TV before, but I don't want him to even do baseball TV. I want him to do like, I don't know. I want him to read like books on tape for me. I want him to be my internal monologue. I want him to voice the next big character of a movie, cartoon. His voice is so soothing for a team that drives me crazy. When I hear him talk, I'm just like, everything's fine, man.
I want to set my Alexa or Siri up with his voice. Where it's
exactly.
Here, Clem. You're almost there. Don't worry about it. You're going to be there in no time. A little bit of traffic, but everything should be all right. You're going to get there on time.
What a fucking blessing he's been. I hope he has a lot in the tank. I hope he manages us for like another 10 years.
And this officially, my favorite thing about all the podcasts we do at Barstool is if you listen to them all, you kind of just see the development. Like with the Podfathers, you literally see kids growing up on a podcast. This time last year, we're like, managers don't mean a fucking thing. Yeah. It's all the idiots upstairs. But we did say the manager's only job is to manage the relationship with the players, the media, and the fans. That's what Buck does with spades. Oh. Plus, he's a great fucking manager and knows the rule book and all those other things. So, egg on our face, we were dead wrong. Managers do matter. To be honest, though, we've just never seen a real manager since I don't even know. Yeah, and don't give me Terry Collins either. Please do not say Terry Collins to me.
No. Terry Collins, the revisionist history on Terry is unbelievable. We might like the guy, but man, he didn't know how to manage.
No, he was god awful. It's just the ass in the jackpot clip.
That's it. If it wasn't for that, nobody would remember him with any sort of fond memories. Before we wrap up, I almost have to apologize to our viewers and listeners. I don't know what we were thinking, not being a part of Old Timers Day somehow, some way. We should have had a media credential. We should have tried to go there. We should have hung out in the fucking parking lot and just waited for some of those guys to come out to talk to them. I think I kind of thought of Old Timers Day as just a Yankees thing, and I never really embraced it. And then getting to watch it, I was like, this is fucking awesome. I love this. We should do this like 5 times a year and just have these guys come in and out. Seeing everybody's old fat ass was unbelievable. Everybody was fat except for like Mookie and that guy, Steve Dillon from like 100 years ago. Those are the only guys still in shape. But watching Piazza try to catch that pop up and he's looking old and rickety. Benny Agbayani not even considering running any harder than a light jog in the outfield. Josh Tolley's enormous. He's huge. The fact that Daniel Murphy's considered an old timer cracked me up. That was just good vibes, man. And the fact that I personally don't really care about retiring Willie Mays' number. I think it's kind of a weird move, to be honest. He's like, nobody in the world thinks about Willie Mays as a New York Met, but whatever. The fans seem to like that. It's just about giving the fans and the media positive things to talk about. So like Willie Mays' son really wanted that number retired. Okay, let's just do it. Let's do a nice thing for them. Who cares? Like, we don't care about 24 anymore. It's not a big deal,
And Ray Knight had the best quote of the weekend. I love the New York Mets. I don't like the Wilpons. We should have to put that on a shirt.
Yeah, you know what?
We might put that on a shirt.
No, absolutely. I'm going to text her right now. I love the New York Mets. I don't love the Wilpons. It sums everything up. All these guys want to come back. Everyone's having a ball. Al Leiter's throwing balls into the crowd. I did a full 180 on Old Timers Day. I'm really going to look forward to it next year, and I hope we can be a part of it.
Uncle Stevie, he hit with the Hernandez retirement, obviously. We said, all right, well, if he did that good with that, I think Old Timers Day will crush. And he paid for all 65 players for airfare and the hotels. And if you don't think that kind of thing matters to like the players that are currently there, be like, oh, they take care of their guys here. Like Mark Cannon must be like, they wouldn't pay for we had to pay for the vending machine in Oakland. Yeah, these guys here.
I feel like Oakland doesn't pay for their current team to travel, let alone their old timer team. Like,
they literally don't. Paul Blackburn, I think, did his own flight to the All-Star game.
Seriously, like that's why. Mark Canna is a perfect example. Mark Canna is not going to be a Hall of Famer. Mark Canna was probably never on the Athletics or any team thinking I'm going to be like a remembered player by any means, right? Except if you play here and he plays out the rest of his days here and he's a contributing player here and plays and has a, God willing, a ring or a playoff run, that's the type of guy that Mets fans will always love and embrace. And now he looks at that and thinks like, I'm going to stay here because like, I want to be doing this when I'm fucking 50 and I can bring my kids and show them that I was a part of a franchise and a part of something. Like, it might be a stretch to say, but I think some of that stuff matters to some of those mid-level players where it's like, I won't really have a legacy except with a team like this who embraces me and will pay for it and will, treat us well and all that kind of shit. So I think that kind of stuff does matter in the long run.
Yeah, and if you don't think like a guy like Mookie is the perfect example for it. He'd always be loved by like Mets fans or whatever. But when you win here, and again, all the shit that we've had to deal with over the years, how tough it is losing, and the fans, the first thing we say to Jeff McNeil is we're sorry for the fans that are going to piss you off here during your time. That shouldn't be how we started. And everybody's like, we kind of had to just let it be known. But Mookie Wilson, Lenny, fucking everyone on that 86 team, which granted was like a comet of a team in terms of personalities and like just skill. But even Ray Knight, these guys are just legends in this city. It's almost like what I say. Mark Messier won 1 billion cups with Edmonton, right? He won one with the Rangers, and he is like hollowed here in New York. And if this current team does it, it's the same thing all over again for a fan base that is rabid, that loves it. And like you said with Willie Mays, like I didn't even know that you're retiring the number. I was like, wait, did we just literally retire 24? Because I had the TV on mute. I was like, are we just putting like a plaque up there for him? I'm like, oh, fuck, 24 is gone. Well, guess who had 24 last? Robin Cano. I don't want that fucking anyone wearing that number anyway. I thought it was weird because I always thought Willie Mays was Willie Mays on the Mets was almost like Patrick Ewing on the Magic, where it's like it was always such a tough look. But at the same point, like the Mets history is about embracing the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Yankees. Right, that's why the orange and the blue and the pinstripes. So it's like if you want to do it, that fucking old dude crying his eyes out about it's like that. Fuck it. It meant something to him. Yeah.
It means something to you. Like it doesn't mean anything to us. Fine, whatever. I mean, Mookie's perfect. Mookie was like a slap hitter his whole career. Like nothing special. Dove out of the way of a wild pitch and hit a bounding ball down up the first base line. And you're a legend, So. And it's
great name too. Great name. You can't discount Mookie.
Oh yeah, name means everything. But he's coached in the minors and stuff. I think he was part of like their development at times. Like you can be a part of this franchise for a long time because we now do things the right way. And I think a lot of the guys in the middle of the road who are playing here, when it comes time to sign a contract or to re-sign a contract, you think about that stuff.
Yeah, and like Stevie Mack here said, Big Sexy might have the lattice pop. Like Bartolo Colon, absolute legend. And I saw he said he's retiring after the Winter League. He finally was like, the Mets didn't. I left New York without the Mets giving me a contract. I guess it's time to hang him up.
I swear to God, Meek, I know you hate him. You really think that he couldn't go out there and do what Trevor May and Michael Gibbons is doing?
I'll say this. I'll take him over Michael Gibbons.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Big Sexy. Where you at, man? So that was awesome. And to top it off with a win, it was just like, it was a great day for Mets fans.
I'm already like envisioning the Daniel Vogelback coming out of Big Old Timers Day. It's going to be a legendary moment, an absolutely legendary moment. So again, we're batting down the hatches. It is the last gauntlet level game that the Mets are going to have probably until the Braves series, which hopefully at that point is fucking the divisions are wrapped.
It's nice to play a series that's really hard. Just one series.
Yes.
Because like every so far it's been like we got to play the Dodgers and then there was a little respite and then it started up again. Now it's just like one bad series and we can hopefully start cruising.
And a day off beforehand too. God forbid that we have a day off going into it too.
I know. Let me just say this though. This is what scares me. Famous last words, but I'm being honest here. If we come out of the Dodgers series, let's say we still have a 3-game lead, the division should be ours.
Yeah.
We should win. We should be able to pencil in the division because we should at least keep that 3-game lead and grow it at least to, a point where that final series maybe doesn't even matter. Or if we're playing head-to-head against them, like if it's a spot where we only need to win like 1 or 2 games against them, it's just the way that schedule is. If we still have that lead, I think we should keep that lead until October.
I mean, we don't play – after this 3-game set, we don't play a good team until the 19th versus the Brewers.
That's a long time of bad games. I hope this team – it's the one thing we haven't seen this team do yet is just have repeatedly, shitty teams that they beat down on. Hopefully they rise to that occasion and don't play down to their level.
Yeah, we talked a lot of shit about how the Braves did all that damage because they were playing bad teams, but like that's a skill that some teams don't always have.
Right.
I think this team does have it because I know whenever we play the Nationals, we just beat the fucking piss out of them. And like the other night, that Rockies game on Friday night, Paps was like, "You guys want to go live?" And we're like, "It seems kind of like Bush League." We would 1,000% went live last year for that because it would have been that was the kind of team that we had. It's like we're above that now. We've made it to where comeback wins and walk-offs against the Rockies is not like pop the champagne and fucking douse everyone. We're professionals. So big series coming up here, and then hopefully a bunch of little series that we just take care of business, win if not sweep every single one of them going along the way. So no matter what, good or bad, gotta believe.